Hello there folks, it is TIJ Gang and welcome to part 26 of our MotoGP 19 career mode. Today it's time for the third instalment in our MotoGP career. Now, first off today we go to France, Le Mans, a track that, to be fair, we've usually gone quite decently around. I remember, did we win here in Moto 2? I think we did. We didn't win in Moto 3, we got that lost by Garcia. Garcia overtook us at the last bend, but we did win here in Moto 2. And then we go to Mugello, followed by the Catalan Grand Prix at the Barcelona-Catalunya circuit. It's a free race today, three very exciting races. Just to remind you folks before we get into it what happened last time I was with you. We went to Argentina first off and Valentino Rossi won the race. And that is a dog barking in the background. I'll get her to shut up in a minute. We didn't have a very good race. We fell off at some point, can't remember when, and finished quite a way back. Then we had the US Grand Prix. It was just wet. We weren't great in the dry, and in the wet we were even worse. We fell off as well there and didn't have a good result. But it was all made up for in Spain, where we qualified on the front row, unbelievably, given the tools we have, and managed to finish in 11th place, picking up our first points of the MotoGP season. So let's see if we get to France, whether we can continue that at the Shark Helmet Grand Prix de France at the Le Mans circuit. Well, we're going to have to do it the hard way this time, through Q1. We didn't have a great session, to be honest. I mean, we improved that lap by a second from what we were actually at, so we're actually a long way further behind the field. But we're 3 tenths behind here now. That's something we can probably make up in the next session. Probably straight line speed is our issue here. I've noticed that, like at Austin, that was a track that was massively about straight line speed, and we just haven't got it on this Ducati. And I think we don't really make the speed through the corners, so it's going to be tricky here, but we'll give it our all and see where we can get to in qualifying. It's banker lap time in Q1. We're going to be about 1.6 seconds off the time Espargaro's done. We've got probably about 2 or 3 laps left in the tank to see what we can do anyway, to see if we can improve our time. But we've done 1 or 2 things to try and improve the bike. We've lengthened the gear ratios so that on the straights we can go a lot quicker. That's actually a lot poorer than I thought the lap would be. The problem is, this first sector, which I will show you on camera here, we're losing a second through that 20-25 second section, of course. That already puts the lap on a bad point. Pretty much keeping pace throughout the rest of the lap. It was just because we had quite a scrappy third sector that we couldn't really keep up with that time. But as you'll see, I mean, that's only 9 tenths this time, which is a little bit better. But still, that's 23 seconds of the lap. And that's, what, about a quarter of the lap, potentially? Yeah, just above a quarter of the lap. And we're already losing nearly a second at that complex of corners. Had quite a rough ride through there, really, trying to concentrate and talk to you guys at the same time. So, wasn't surprised, as you can see, yep, we've lost a few tenths there. Much like we did in our first lap, we've overcooked that corner. So, I don't think we're going to get much out of this lap. So, we need to focus and get as much out of the bike as possible. But it's not looking good, and we're certainly not going to continue the heroics we had in Jerez. This could be a huge improvement. We've finally got the bike working in that first sector. Just a case of being a lot more aggressive into those first 2 corners. I wasn't being brave enough before, and it's amazing how much being a bit more aggressive can save you in terms of time. So, coming up to the last corner, we're only a 10th and a half off the best time of the session, which is from Espargaro. I've got to get this last sector just right. Let's see where this elevates us to. We're not great in the last sector, so we could be quite a bit off. What is the time? It's a 1:34.2, which is a massive improvement to what we'd done before, but amazingly, it only still puts us 1 place within the... What row would that be? It's 10th, so 12. That can't be 22nd. It might be. No, sorry, 20th. Yeah, 20th. So just in the middle of the 7th row.
What's going on, race fans? We're joining you from the Le Mans circuit for live coverage of the MotoGP Grand Prix of France. As you can tell from the footage, we're broadcasting from the track. We're looking forward to great weather for the race.
Certainly looks nice, doesn't it, at the Le Mans circuit? Well, we didn't improve on our time, to be quite honest. When I cut away at the end of that first sector, we were 7 tenths down again. So it doesn't seem much point in completing the lap. So we do qualify in 20th place. We've got Alex Rins starting on pole for this race. Nice the Suzuki up there. Very balanced grid, has to be said, this season. It's been nice to see a lot of different riders up there at different Grand Prix. Marc Marquez starts second. Well, he's never too far off the front. That's not much of a surprise. Well, it shows in third, or go back to some randomer. Yeah, it goes back to Cal Crutchlow, which I suppose isn't really a randomer. He qualifies on the 3rd row. So we've got Rins, Marquez and Dovi on the front row. Jack Miller impressing once again on that Pramac Ducati, sandwiched by 2 Yamahas. Crutchlow, Petrucci and Nakagami on the 3rd row. Lorenzo, a decent performance from him. Nice to see he got through Q1 into 12th place. Johan Mir a little bit further down than expected in 13th. He's actually won a race, of course, this year. Back 9 and 15th on that 2018 bike. And then we have at the back of the grid, we've got, funnily enough, all of the Avintia bikes on one row. We've got Abraham, who took the accolade of being the quickest bike, ourselves in the middle, and Rabat at the back. And I believe, I can't quite remember, I think it's Oliveira and Shireen who start on the back row. So let's get into it then, this Le Mans Grand Prix. Not really got much to lose here. We haven't really had the best of weekends, not really had the pace. This is more of a test session, but let's see if we can pick any opportunities. And who knows, we might potentially walk away with a point or two. Lights are on then. We had a pretty good start in Jerez. See if we can continue that this time. Lights are out and away we go. Good start for Tito Rabat. That's not a bad start for us. We've lost a little bit. It was actually the Aprilia Vianone starting alongside Shireen on the back row. Apologies. But coming into that first corner, we don't really want to get involved with this scrap too much because it could get quite dangerous. I mean, there's some bikes running particularly close together. How everyone's got through that, I'll never ever know. But good acceleration through there, purely by not being impeded by anyone. And that's our teammates. Abraham got past Shireen, holds the inside line, which means Abraham's back in again to take that place. We've dropped to the back of the grid from the start. It's a little bit disappointing. Seems one of the Suzukis, it's got to be Johan Mir, who's had a bad start. It's a little bit late breaking into there. We push a few out and we're off the bike. Well, it's the problem with the start of the race. It really is. We just don't know when to curb the aggression, and it's tricky. You can take your normal racing line, or you can be really cautious, like we were at the first corner, but didn't gain anything. And you need to gain something on the start, and that's the risk you take with these Motor Grand Prix. It was not too far behind anyone, so there is a chance with these 7 laps, if we get some pace, we might be able to catch back up to the back of the field. But as I said at the start of the race, I think that getting any points here could be wishful thinking now. The pace that we've got on this bike in clean air is actually pretty decent. I've mucked that corner up in just trying to concentrate on talking to you guys. But yeah, in clean air, we're not that bad at all, really. We're, we were about, what, 3 seconds behind everyone else when we had the crash. Well, we're at the end of the second lap, and we're only maybe sort of a second off the guy's head, 9/10 of a second. So we can definitely pick off some places here. Lost a little bit at the start of that straight, but I'll just show you what I mean about being a little bit more aggressive into this first corner. Probably draw a definite difference from what we were doing beforehand. Just braking a little bit later and getting on the accelerator a lot quicker out of there. Okay, running a little bit wide as Valentino Rossi takes the lead back for Yamaha. Alex Rins had a bit of a stinker of a start, to be quite honest. He started on pole and then ended up in 6th place. The record for people starting on pole this season has not been great, but funnily enough, I've come back to you guys naturally. We've lost a little bit of time to the guys in front, which isn't great, but we'll keep on pushing. It's still a fairly long race. We've got 7 laps. We're not really in the middle of the race just yet, so we might be able to catch up and gain 1 or 2 places here, particularly on where we started. Well, unfortunately, what I seemed to say earlier was a bit of a jinx, because we were right up the back of Oliveira, and now we're keeping pace with him, and at some points we've got close, and then we've gone away again, then we've got a bit closer, and that cycle just seems to continue. So we've certainly not got bad pace round here, and maybe if we hadn't have had that silly crash, we could have picked up a few positions. I mean, we'd have probably lost, what, about 3 or 4 seconds in that accident. So there's a bit of a train there, so it might well have been 18th or 17th, but some days it just doesn't happen for you. At the end of the day, it's only our first MotoGP season. We can maneuver with it. I'd rather make the mistakes now than potentially in what could be in a few seasons' time, maybe a championship challenge for us. But well, it's not a bad Grand Prix. We qualified fairly low back anyway. Our pace has been decent. We'll find out what the fastest laps are at the end of the race. But it seems we've just got to ride out this Grand Prix now and see how we get on. So it's Valentino Rossi who wins, I think, his 2nd race in a row. I think he's won 3 so far this season. He wins here in Le Mans. And as you can see, we're fairly close to Oliveira, but just not close enough. And coming across the line, it's that straight line speed that kills, I think, that acceleration out of the corners. And we come across the line in 23rd. Not a bad Grand Prix, really, but not the best at the same time. So Valentino Rossi wins. Jack Miller on the podium. Alex Rins a little bit of a poor Grand Prix considering where he started. And Lorenzo and Espargaro making good progress. Quattararo scoring the last point. Tito Rabat nearly there as well, which is a bit of a shame. But as you can see, we set a 33.8, which is better than anyone up to Crutchlow. So our pace was pretty good. So we didn't do too badly altogether there, but it's a really mixed bag now with the championship. 16 points separating the top 4 after 5 races, Rins, Marquez, Rossi and Dovi. But we are still down in 18th place with 5 points. So now we go to Mugello, the Italian Grand Prix. The Rossi fans will be out in force. Certainly not a bad session there, nowhere near as bad as Le Mans. We beat both our teammates times, as you can see, pretty competitive, beating both our teammates by half a tenth and a tenth of a second respectively. What's the gap to the guys in Q2? Quite big, I would say. I mean, 47.5 is what they set, 48.3 is what we set. So it's going to be quite tricky for us to get into Q2, but at least here we do have some pace. So potentially with a few fixes on the bike going into Q1, we could well have some pace and be in contention. This should definitely be our personal best lap of the weekend, and to be quite honest, there are clear areas throughout the lap that we can improve on. So there's definitely a lot of pace coming around here, but Jesus Christ, Quartararo is just really upset the pace, really. 8 tenths quicker than Jorge Mir. I keep cutting Jorge, I don't know why. Johan Mir. Let's see what this lap's going to be. It's a 47.7, which is a really solid lap compared to the rest, to be fair. The rest were setting about 47.5s, and 47.3 was the lap that Johan Mir set. But Quartararo just set a new pace, an unbelievable pace. That's Marquez-esque, really, to go out and set a lap like that in a session.
Hi motorcycle race fans tuning in. Today's MotoGP race is being held in the hills of Tuscany, where the Italian Grand Prix is about to start. The weather is great and the temperature is perfect for racing, so we're just waiting to find out which riders have opted for hard tyres and which have opted for soft.
Evidently, we didn't get through to Q2, that's fairly obvious, but we were fairly close to it, to be honest. We were 4th in the session, ahead of Jorge Lorenzo. Now, the time of Johan Mir needs to get into Q2, and Fabio Quartararo's time, well, it was just out of this world. But a great qualifying, really, on the Advintia bike. About 2 rows ahead of our teammates, sure enough, with the poor starts we have. We'll probably be back there as soon as the first corner's through, but oh well. But Dovi starts on pole for his home race. In second place, it's another Italian, the one that the fans will definitely be supporting, Valentino Rossi, and the enemy round these parts, Marquez, starts in third. Third row then, we've got the usual, really. Petrucci starting quite low down, Jack Miller really performing this year on the Pramac bike. We start in 14th, right next to Nakagami, and we're good company with Lorenzo on that 5th row. And on the 7th row, we have Shireen, Zarco and Abraham, with our teammate Rabat starting in 22nd, and Andrea Iannone rounding out the field, starting in 23rd. So we start in 14th. Ideally, we don't really want to go back too much. We had a good qualifying, but that being said, we have got good pace round here. So lose a few positions on the start, it doesn't matter too much, but the most important thing, pardon me, is to stay on the bike ultimately. The lights are on. And we're away for the MotoGP of Italy, the Mugello Grand Prix. Lorenzo goes through a great start for him, as he usually does have. Not a brilliant start for us, but not the worst start at the same time. This first corner, we've outbroke ourselves just a little bit. We're going to stay on the outside line, not wanting to get too trapped up with anybody. Valentino Rossi, a dreadful start for him considering he's on the front row, and now he's within our grasp. We push that KTM into the corner, and he tries to go free abreast with that Valentino Rossi and with a Suzuki. That's a Ducati back there. If that is Dovi, it is Dovi. The top two have had an absolutely disastrous start here. But we haven't had too bad a start, really. Picking off a few positions. That's a Suzuki of, I don't know who the Suzuki is. I'm presuming it's Mir. It could well be Alex Rins, though. But we're actually ahead of Dovi. Didn't realise we'd got past Dovi. And that's the KTM. An unbelievable start for Paulo Spargaro, who's usually up there quite respectably. But Alex Rins dropping down to 10th as well. And this is a good start for us, it seems. All the even-numbered races we did really well in, funnily enough. But what we need to do is just stay on the bike here. Keep composed, not be too starstruck by the fact, oh my god, Valentino Rossi is in our sights, and just focus on trying to get a good result here. If there was ever a straight for strip streaming, believe me, this would be the one. That's going to be one bike we get past. That's Paulo Spargaro got past on the straight. Morbidelli drops behind Valentino Rossi, but Morbidelli trying to get the pace back. Marquez leads, and bloody hell, Quartararo, we knew he'd got the pace, but he is up in 4th. But the problem with that slipstream is you can massively misjudge your braking zone and braking area. So Spargaro gets past for now, but we actually get on the accelerator quite nicely. And we do compromise Paul into that corner, but sometimes you have to do the block pass, or else you're never going to get past anyone. But 11th place for Inton, and that's going to be our personal best of the season if we stay there. We finished of course 11th, so it'll match our personal best. We finished 11th back in Jerez, but we need to focus now. We don't really want to lose that front group, but if we do, I'm quite happy being here in 11th. But it would be great, wouldn't it, if we could try and catch the likes of Morbidelli and Rossi here. really done well to catch up to this battle for 7th. Now it's time for Slipstream Central. I'm excited to see what the results of this are. Alex Rin's a little bit further ahead, actually, in that battle. So it more... if I could put my teeth in, Christ. I'm getting too excited, that's why. This is more likely to be a battle for 8th place now. But Slipstream Central not bringing too much. Definitely a little bit close to Morbidelli we are. Just going to go on the outside line. Don't really want to keep the curb. That wasn't the ideal line. But Morbidelli keeps it fairly planted into there. Valentino Rossi, I'm surprised, really. As I said, he's done really well at some races, and some races he's just flopped at. He's definitely got pace, but he's dropped back quite a bit at the start. But I was surprised a little bit there that we couldn't really gain much on that group. But we're, you know, a long way away from, surprisingly, Valentino Dovizioso. Yeah, believe me, I do know the names of the riders here. We are quite a way ahead of Dovi, so it's going to be at least 5 points there, and a good points haul for me personally, and for the team, and a good confidence boost as well. Just got to stay on that bike. Slipstream Central will strike again. We're as close as we have been to Lorenzo's now dropped down to 10th place. We're getting a lot closer to him. You'll notice we've got a little bit of a penalty, a 2 10th time penalty. Obviously for a bit of a cut somewhere, not quite sure. Using Lorenzo as a bit of a break. That's just cheeky now. Using him as a massive break. And a little bit dirty games there at that corner. He's going to try and get back on the inside. But that was a little bit dirty. But he get away with it. We're up to 10th place. This could be a brilliant result. And actually... Morbidelli isn't too far up the road, but with that 2 10th penalty, it's going to be a struggle to get past Franco and get 2 tenths ahead of him. I'm thinking probably on the start-finish line, we might well get past him, but 2 tenths to gain, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle, but what a great result this could be. Well, it's last corner time. Dovi is 7 tenths back in 11th, so we should secure 10th place. As you can see, Morbidelli's too far ahead to get 2 tenths ahead of him, I think, but we're trying to accelerate as quick as we can out here. I don't quite think we're going to take the place. But Marquez wins the Italian Grand Prix. That won't go down too well with the Italian faithful. But a great result for us. A personal best of the year so far. And we're going across the line with 6 points for the Avintia team. And 11 points in a total for our championship points tally. But as you can see, a pretty decent pace there. Jack Miller, another podium for him. He's getting very consistently into the chance of being a title rival for these guys. Seeing as the likes of Dovi and Rossi are fairly inconsistent. But our teammates a long way back in 21st. And 22nd. As you can see, only 26 points now between the top 6. That's really close. But we move into 17th place. That was a good weekend for us. Let's hope it continues in our last race today at the Spanish Grand Prix of Catalonia. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wow. We've got a transfer window. And we've been given some unbelievable offers. Firstly, I mean, I don't think that's the same performance. That's a lie. That is the same bike that Jack Miller is getting podiums on. We've got the LCR Honda, which we were offered the start of the season with that problem that we had to go back to the Vintia. And then we've got the proper Castrol bike that we've got Crutchlow on, and also got the Aprilia bike. So it's a case of choosing between Pramac, a Ducati, or the Honda. I feel like the Pramac's a better avenue to potentially get into the Ducati team. I don't really see myself getting into the main Honda team, but that Castrol bike that Crutchlow is on is a very attractive bike. I mean, they're all looking for the top 10 positions. We're not going to be able to achieve that on an Aprilia. But I think what we're going to do, I don't know. Both offers are very tempting, that LCR Honda and Pramac offer. Oh, God. I'll make my decision, and you'll have to see me in FP3. Here we are on our new bike. Bit of a giveaway with the Honda badge. We are on the LCR Honda Castrol bike, and oh my God, I've only ridden it for 2 corners, and boy does it feel mighty. Oh, we've had a brilliant offer there, to be honest. I mean, I would have quite liked the Pramac offer, but to ride alongside my British compatriot, Cal Crutchlow, oh, it was too much of an offer. It was too tempting an offer to miss out on. I didn't expect this sort of offer so early, but, you know, ride well for the rest of the season, maybe another season after that, and we could be on a factory bike before we know it. I know we got the Aprilia offer, but that's not exactly the best factory ride. This is a bit of a shock, to be honest. I'm not up to the pace on this bike, really. We've got a quick lap simulation here. The time threshold is a 42.3, which seems fairly decent, so, you know, fairly easy time to get to, considering how far it is off the time of Alex Rins. And truth be told, we can't get anywhere near it. We're setting high 142s. Pardon me, I mean, I'm having a belching fit here. But I'm really not sure. It's taken a little bit of time to adjust to the new bike, the new setup, new settings, etc. But we haven't got the pace yet. But admittedly, I will completely admit that Catalonia is not my best track. A real shame, really, and not what we wanted in our first session on this Honda Castrol bike, the LCR Honda. I can see a long way off anybody in the field, and we're going to have to improve a lot going into Q1. Let's see how the banker time compares then to the rest. 141 dead by Quattararo. We've struggled to get within a second of that all weekend, so I don't think we will here. We were about 7 tenths off that coming into the last sector, but we do struggle to keep up with the pace. It's 5th place for now. But I'm guessing a lot of people haven't set their times just yet. But we're going to have to improve a lot on that if we want to get any further on. This second lap should be a lot better. Johan Mir just goes across the line and sets a new fastest time for 1:40.9. As you can see, we're dropping down this qualifying session fairly quickly. Let's see what this lap's going to be. It might not be a big improvement, but might be somewhat. It's a 1:41.7. That puts us 8th place in this session. We're going to struggle to get through. We've got 2 more laps. We'll see if we can have any more light bulb moments about where we're losing pace. But we'll have to see what we can do in terms of improving our time.
Hello and welcome to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. We'll be bringing you live coverage of the MotoGP race in just a few minutes. The weather is great and the temperature is perfect for racing. So we're just waiting to find out which riders have opted for hard tyres and which have opted for soft.
I won this race last year in the wet. It's fair to say we're not going to win that this year. A bit humiliating, to be honest. We've qualified behind Carol Abraham, who of course is our previous teammate. We did make a decision in the second season in Moto2 to switch to a Honda bike. And I just wonder whether they're suitable for me. I'm not really sure. But we'll find out. I don't think it's all going to be dictated just by this race. But quite a way back on the grid. We start in 20th. Valentino Rossi on pole for this Grand Prix. But based on his previous record from starting from pole, he'll probably finish about 8th. But Petrucci finally out-qualifying Jack Miller. Only a 10th off his teammate, Andrea Dovizioso. But Jack Miller not far behind. Our teammate, Cal Crutchlow, all the way up in 8th place. You can visibly see how far we are behind Lorenzo in 14th. As you can see, a decent qualifying from Carol Abraham, to be fair. But as you can see, we are going to be in the middle of the 7th row, starting on the soft tyres. Might not be the best decision, because everybody else is starting on hards, which makes me worry just a little bit. Damage limitation though, it'd be great to recover to get some points, but the lights are on here in Catalonia. Lights out, and away we go. Really strong start there from that Aprilia. Just try and get on the power a little bit more. As you can see, the wheelie is a real problem for us here, but we've now been relegated to the back of the field. Not much of a surprise, given the way we've started Grand Prix this season, but we do like to brake a little bit late into that corner. We could have had a master stroke there, but equally might not be that great. We lose all the ground we made up on the exit because we had to position ourselves well to get still back on the racing line. But we get back into 20th, exactly where we started, and that is a Pramac Ducati ahead of us, so just highlights me, we practically rammed into the back of him, but we were visibly quicker than Bagnaia. But Bagnaia goes really wide there, and unbelievably keeps the place because we go stupidly onto the curb. That poor Aprilia, he's had a bit of a problem there, but Lorenzo all the way down in 18th, not the best start for him. But we're all over the place, as you can visibly see. Our racing lines aren't great, and Shireen has fell off the KTM Tech 3. First time we've actually had a crash for a long time that hasn't involved us. It's quite unbelievable, really. But we're fairly consistent. Our pace is half decent, but just trying to pick off little bits where we can. As you can see, Abraham didn't have the best exit there, so we've got past him. But he might well get back past us here. Now, this left hand is somewhere where we've got to brake early. We're not a fan around it. I don't know how anybody gets around this corner so quick. This is where we're losing a lot of our time, I'd say, on our lap on the exit here. You can visibly see that everybody's pretty much pulled away by quite a fair bit. But coming up to the end of the first lap, we've not lost anything. We've certainly not gained anything either, but we've got 5 more laps. You know, this is effectively a new bike, so use this as a bit of a test session and see what we can pick up. But a good exit there. Try and get past Abraham. We'll see what we can do on the straight first off. Pick off Carol Abraham on our old Ducati bike. We've got good acceleration, that's visible. A few people getting involved in scraps. Again, Valentino Rossi and Dovi, an absolutely shocking start. Tito were back though in the top 10. Wow, we should have probably stopped at Real Avintia, but they wanted top 5 finishes, which is ridiculous, and that is way too late breaking into there. Just the slipstream can throw you off sometimes, and we've actually gained... Have we gained a place there? Yeah, we did on Oliveira. But we give that back suitably. We'll probably give the place back to Carol Abraham because we can't do anything through here. But we are visibly struggling here. We've got pace back out the corner. Could get past Oliveira again. Could do. No, it's not quite going to happen. But we could get a point or two here potentially if our pace betters. But we're going to struggle definitely. Unbelievably, hopefully past me will actually go back and look at that, because I wasn't expecting to. But we actually gained some ground at that corner. That was pretty dirty for us actually on Lorenzo, cutting him out of that corner. But didn't make too much difference, he's still right behind us. Unbelievable, we got past both Nakagami and Lorenzo at that left-hander where we usually can't do anything. But we kept the position on Lorenzo, probably because we pushed him out of the way, most likely. But we're actually making ground here. We're not doing all too badly. And a points finish here would be really good. It'd be fantastic considering where we started. Actually got some nice pace now, right on the back of this battle between Bagnaia, Fabio Quartararo and Tora Nakagami. Nakagami, of course, being on the sister bike to us, so it would mean a lot to get past him at this Grand Prix. Nakagami going through on Quartararo. That could be a chance if he mucks it up, and we've definitely gained a little bit, even though minutely coming to this right-hander. But points are only just up the road. We're literally a second away from points, so with 2 laps to go, if we keep this safe and consistent, I will get a nice trophy for keeping it on the bike for 2 races. But equally might pick up a point as well. A little bit wide into there. But, oh, Nakagami hits Quartararo out the way. Talk about aggressive. But he's actually made the move on Quartararo. I thought, oh, that's going to be both of those on the floor. But Nakagami just practically uses Quartararo as a bit of a break. He entered that quite sharply and got past Fabio by using him as a break. But we could get past him here. We've got some decent momentum. Get some good acceleration at the last corner. Braking a little bit too late. That might be our issue. We certainly don't want to fall off the bike. Getting a little bit skewiff there, but a good exit to the final corner. The slipstream's not really enough here at Catalonia to be able to launch it up the inside into the first corner. You certainly could in Grand Prix cars, but that's purely because of their downforce. So that's not a bad move actually into the first corner, but ultimately Quartararo gets it back. We're not very good at the late braking manoeuvres. We're much better at trying to get stuff back when we accelerate out of corners. But with 2 laps to go, it's not the worst Grand Prix we could have had here. Final lap time on our first race. An unexpected Grand Prix, I think it's fair to say. A very unexpected call-up to the LCR Honda Castrol team. You can see we've kept pace with the likes of Quartararo and Nakagami, but not really had enough to get the oomph to get past them. But we'll certainly take this a good test session. In effect, we're not going to walk away with any points, I don't think, today. We might well do. That's not a bad entry to the first corner. Get it stopped, and we could have got that position there on Quartararo. A little bit of a corner cut there, but we get away with it, and we're up to 16th place. That's Nakagami just in the very near distance, 2.5 tenths away as that sector line guns through. I think we've not really got much to lose, so we might as well push to the max, try and get past him. And there's an opening at this corner, but ultimately the braking zone's too tricky to make a move there, and we don't want to let Quartararo back through, who's, well, he's quite a bit behind now, actually, but Bagnaia could impede Nakagami a bit here, so potentially we could end up with a point, but just about a minute left to take. Oh, well, one mistake is all it takes. It's all it takes. One mistake, one bit of too much rev out of a corner, and you're off the bike. And unfortunately, we couldn't get a 2-race streak without falling off, and we've just gone bonkers now. A bit of a shame. But really resembles our first weekend on this Honda bike, to be honest. Not a good weekend whatsoever. You know, I was trying to take the positives early, but ultimately now we fell off. We might as well get all negative and gloomy. But definitely a race to forget. It seems to be the even races where we're doing really well. It's really odd. We're really inconsistent. One race we're doing really well, the next race we're not. But Marc Marquez wins a 2nd race in a row. I think he's going to start pulling away in this championship fight. But I wish that his Honda performance could be replicated by us. We're nowhere near that. But it's our first race on the Honda. We've definitely got somewhere to look up to at least. But nonetheless, we've come across the line. Not a great race, but a decent episode. Picking up 6 points in that Italy race. And we come across the line in 22nd at one of our least favourite tracks of the season. So it's Marquez, Petrucci and Rins on the podium. Dovi and Rossi. Really weird race for them, but as you can see, Marquez pulls out a gap. It was 26 to 6th. In that last race. Now it's 39 points. That gap, it's quite unbelievable, really. But I'll just show what our results have been so far this season, just for you guys who can't quite remember, but it'll be a good refresh for me anyway. just to see the disparity between the odd and even race, and that's all I can call them because it's such a weird and awkward place to be. But that will set us up well for the 8th round, which I'm sure is at Assen. Yeah, it's at Assen, isn't it? But let's have a quick look. So, Career Pro, because as you can see, yeah, the second race at Argentina wasn't fantastic because we fell off the bike. But visibly, 23rd US, 11th in Spain, 23rd in France, 10th in Italy, and 22nd in Catalonia. I think that gives all the proof that you need. But it's been a bit of a long one today, so I hope you guys have enjoyed that. I've been TIJ Gamer, and until the next time, I will see you guys on Tuesday. Goodbye for now.